So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the out one of you Uncle Tom ass niggas for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first?
He's doing all these things.
Snoop Dogg's been out here doing his thing, but guess what just happened? He got hit with a warning, and not from the cops or some rival rapper, but from Katt Williams himself. Yeah, Katt Williams, the man who never holds back his tongue. This time, he's calling out Snoop for what he calls turning political. In Katt's exact words, becoming a political dog. He even warned, no sir. Down the line, folks might not even book you in Texas, Arizona, or California. When Katt Williams throws a warning, it ain't for laughs. That man doesn't talk for clout. He talks when it means something. And right now, he's saying Snoop's walking on thin ice. According to Katt, Snoop's deep in a dangerous game, one where loyalty, power, and truth don't always play nice together. Katt's been on absolute fire lately, tearing into the industry and putting Hollywood's fake smiles on blast. He's been naming names: Steve Harvey, Cedric, D.L. Hewley. Nobody's been safe. But this time,
career down the road. People might not want to book you in Texas or Arizona or California.
Sir. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Let's let that...
The name he dropped shook the room harder than ever. Snoop Dogg. Why is that such a big deal? Because Snoop ain't just another star. He's a living legend. A man who went from death row to daytime TV, from the block to the White House. Snoop's always been a survivor. No question about that. But Katt Williams says somewhere along the line, Snoop lost that raw edge, that realness that made him who he was. Katt's message came loud and clear. Snoop Dogg ain't the same Snoop no more. He claims Snoop switched lanes, from repping the people to repping the powerful. Katt even called him a political dog, saying he's barking loud, but only when the system gives him permission. And if you've been paying attention to Snoop these past few years, you might see what Katt means. Because this ain't the same Snoop from Murder Was the Case. This ain't the Snoop who rode with Pac and stood up to death row. Nah, this is the Snoop chilling with Martha Stewart, doing commercials for insurance and pet food, and cozying up with politicians and CEOs. To Katt, that transformation says everything.
Let's say this real quick, now on the political shit. All you people for the federal government that not getting paid right now, ain't no fucking way in the world y'all can vote for Donald Trump when he come back up again. If y'all do vote for him, y'all some stupid mother...
Katt didn't call it evolution. He called it something else entirely. Now don't get it twisted. Katt Williams has always shown love to Snoop as a legend. He even said it himself. Snoop opened doors, made gangster culture go mainstream, and flipped struggle into success. But in Katt's eyes, somewhere along the road, Snoop forgot what made him iconic in the first place. That raw authenticity, that real voice of the streets, the man who stood against the system, not side by side with it. And when Katt says political dog, he's not talking about Democrat or Republican. He's talking about the soul game. The kind where you trade truth for power, peace for comfort, and purpose for image. Katt swears Snoop's gotten too cozy with the same crowd he used to call out. In a world where truth tellers are going silent, Katt Williams ain't letting that slide for a second. So where did all this tension even begin? Let's rewind the tape. Back in the early 2000s, Snoop Dogg was untouchable. He survived the death row chaos, built his own empire, and earned the title of one of hip-hop's most respected OGs. He was tight with everyone. Jay-Z, Ice Cube, the real ones.
Inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States of America, Snoop Dogg performed at the Crypto Ball. Now, Snoop Dogg, he got the backlash because people are like, wait, this isn't the same Snoop from 2016 who had so much to say about the artist's performance.
Snoop was the mentor, the cool uncle of the whole rap game. But then, things started shifting. Snoop began popping up at political events, defending certain celebs while staying real quiet about others. He started backing brands, politicians, and causes that fans said didn't sound like the Snoop they knew. And to someone like Katt Williams, that was a major red flag. Katt's been saying it for years. When they can't control you, they cancel you. And when they can't cancel you, they recruit you. Katt's convinced Snoop got recruited. The tension really started building when Katt noticed how quiet Snoop stayed during some of hip-hop's biggest moments. When artists were getting blackballed, silence. When people were exposing the shady side of the industry, Snoop played the peacemaker. And when talk of exploitation came up, still silence. But the second Hollywood had an award show or a red carpet, Snoop was front and center, smiling for the cameras. To Katt, that didn't look like loyalty. That looked like a man protecting his position, not his people. So when Katt said, "I'm sending Snoop his last warning, stop being a political dog," it wasn't just shade, it was a challenge, a wake-up call to a man Katt once truly admired. Let's really unpack what Katt meant. In his world, there's two kinds of dogs. You got the street dog, loyal, hungry, fearless, and then you got the political dog, trained, obedient, polished.
Yeah. Get your life right. Stop worrying about mine. I'm cool. I'm together. Still a black man. Still 100% black.
Katt says Snoop used to be the first kind. Wild, raw, unpredictable. But now, he's moving like the second. A man trained to protect the system instead of the streets. And honestly, you can't even lie. That observation hits kind of hard. Snoop's on TV more than he's in the studio these days. He's hosting cooking shows instead of showing up at community events. He's selling products, not messages. Now look, there's nothing wrong with evolving. But Katt's asking the real question. What kind of growth is it? Did Snoop grow as a man or just as a brand? Because here's the thing. Katt Williams never cared about Hollywood fame. He never chased the machine. He fought it. He's been arrested, blackballed, banned, mocked, yet he never stopped talking his truth. That's why people still trust him. He doesn't owe Hollywood a thing.
Of course, Snoop has responded to the backlash he received for performing for a Trump event. One of the things he pointed out was that we always stick together. We're good at tearing each other apart, which is pretty constant. It's pretty consistent when somebody gets into trouble. It takes backlash from the community. It's always a communal thing. It isn't any action they took. It is the fact that we can't stay together, that we can't stick together, that it's us always attacking us. But that flies in the face of the reality of what's happening right now. It is not us who are tearing down affirmative action. It is not us.
So when a man like Katt steps up and calls out Snoop, everyone pays attention. Because Katt's never been scared to lose. Katt's not scared of losing fame. He's only scared of what happens when people stop speaking the truth. But here's where it really gets deep. There's actual history between Katt and Snoop. They both came up in the same era, just on different sides of the game. Both West Coast legends, both loved by the streets. Snoop used to show Katt nothing but love. They did radio shows, interviews, even comedy sets together back in the 2000s. But over time, that vibe shifted. Katt started noticing Snoop defending the same Hollywood insiders that he was calling out. When Katt was naming names, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hewley, Cedric the Entertainer, Snoop stayed silent. Even worse, Snoop was out here taking pictures with those same folks, smiling like everything was sweet. That's when Katt drew the line in the sand. He said, "You can't be for the people and still shake hands with the puppeteers." And that shot went straight at Snoop. Let's be real, though. This ain't the first time people accuse Snoop of switching sides. Back in the death row days, he was ride or die for the streets. But after Pac's death, he distanced himself from Suge Knight and started rolling with new alliances. After leaving death row, Snoop linked up with No Limit, then went fully corporate and eventually dove straight into Hollywood. He's reinvented himself more times than any rapper alive. And that's exactly why he's still standing strong today. But that same reinvention is also why some folks stopped trusting him.
Us who is tearing down DEI. It is not us who are tearing families apart. It is not us who have decided that affirmative action and rollbacks that have been that had precedent for 50, 60 years are gone. It is not us that is doing it. It is. I think most people are disappointed because they saw you a specific way, and you have a right to kind of interpret and do whatever artistically you want to. No one's begrudging you that. But why the attack on the community because they disagree with something you did?
Katt's not mad at Snoop's success. He's questioning the man's soul. He's basically saying, "You used to lead us. Now you follow them." Now Snoop hasn't clapped back at Katt directly, but the internet sure has, and it's split right down the middle. Half the people are saying Katt's just hating, that he's jealous, bitter, and salty toward anyone who made it mainstream. They say Snoop's just being smart, evolving like any businessman would. But the other half? They're riding with Katt. They say he's the only one bold enough to say what everybody's been thinking. That Snoop's been playing both sides for years. Talking realness but living corporate, preaching loyalty while moving with whoever's got the biggest check. And honestly, both sides might have a point. 'Cause this isn't just about Katt and Snoop. It's about what happens when fame collides with authenticity. Snoop represents survival, the man who made it out the struggle and stayed relevant through every era. But Katt? He represents rebellion, the man who refuses to bow down even when it costs him everything. These are two completely different philosophies crashing head-on. Play the game or expose it. Right now, Katt's saying Snoop's gone too deep into that game to ever walk out clean again. But the real question is, what exactly is Katt warning him about?
On some real though, it's about time somebody said some gangster shit up in here. Hey yo, Katt Williams, when did they start selling pimp clothes at Baby Gap? My nigga over there drinking that Hennessy out of that little sippy cup.
When he says last warning, it sounds serious, like something big's coming. Some fans believe Katt's warning Snoop about karma, about what happens when you trade your purpose for politics. Others think he's talking about what comes from playing both sides too long, because eventually, both sides turn against you. And a few fans? They think Katt's just plain tired of watching legends lose themselves for the spotlight. Katt's heartbroken watching the very legends he grew up respecting turn into puppets for power. He said it best. The moment you stop talking for the people stop talking for you. That's the message he's sending straight to Snoop. Katt's saying no matter how rich, famous, or iconic you become, if the streets don't feel you anymore, then you've already lost. And that's why this warning cuts so deep. Because Katt's not just talking to Snoop. He's calling out every entertainer who forgot where they came from. He's telling them, don't let them turn you into something you're not. Because once you lose your voice, they don't need you anymore. That's the real message behind all the smoke and fire. Snoop's whole career proves how tricky fame can get. He's been it all. Gangster, icon, businessman, peacemaker, comedian, actor, and mogul. And no doubt, Snoop's earned every bit of what he's got. But with every new move he makes, that question just gets louder. Has Snoop gotten too comfortable, too polished, too political? 'Cause the same Snoop Dogg who once screamed, "Forget the system," is now sitting on talk shows with the system. And that's something Katt just can't respect. Still, nobody can erase what Snoop's done for the culture. He helped build West Coast hip-hop from the ground up. He mentored artists, created jobs, and gave back to his community. He's one of the few rappers who actually aged gracefully. No wild scandals, no public breakdowns, no crash and burn moments. But maybe that's the issue. In a world that thrives on chaos, being calm can start to look suspicious. And Katt Williams, he is chaos in human form. So when Katt looks at Snoop's calm demeanor, he doesn't see peace, he sees compliance. And make no mistake, this story ain't over yet. Katt's never been the type to whisper warnings. When he says last warning, he means every word of it. If Snoop even hints at a response, you better believe Katt's coming back 10 times harder. Because this isn't just talk. This is a full-on clash between truth and tolerance, between the rebel and the ruler, between two legends who walked different paths but ended up under the same spotlight. And that's what makes it so wild to watch. Katt embodies the raw, unfiltered voice of the people, fearless and untamed. Snoop, on the other hand, represents the dream, the man who escaped the struggle and built an empire. Both started real, both changed the game, but now only one of them refuses to play it. And in Katt's eyes, that's the real difference. So what happens next? Maybe nothing, or maybe everything. Because in this industry, silence speaks louder than words. And if Snoop stays quiet after all this, it won't mean peace. It'll mean power's still pulling the strings behind the scenes. This is Famezaar, where we dive deep into what really goes down behind all that Hollywood glitter. So, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Katt's got a point? Did Snoop sell out to the system? Or is Katt just exhausted from fighting battles nobody can win anymore? One thing's for sure. When Katt Williams says, "This is your last warning," you better believe he means it. Catch you in the next one.